What's up fellas, Panda here. Today we're going to be talking about what Season 4 Strive needs. Season 4 Strive is something that's coming around the corner, surely really soon, maybe even next month or by the end of this month, but we all know we're going to get the information at EVO, and this video is to kind of give concepts on what could come, what would be great if it did show up, and character predictions. I also have a part at the end specifically talking about Potemkin stuff, if you're interested in that type of play. But overall, let's get started talking about some of the things that were strong in Season 3 and maybe toned down in Season 4. So to start us off, Season 4, we're going to talk about the base mechanics, and this is probably talking about the one that everybody and their mother has complained about, and that is Wild Assault. Wild Assault, as we know, has multiple strengths, and for a lot of characters, these strengths are kinda necessary. Some of them are disgusting, and let's get into the strengths of specifically White Wild Assault. White Wild Assault is not only plus on block, not only have iframes on frame 9 onwards, not only does it delete burst, not only does it lead to hard knockdown on wall and on the opponent and neutral, not only does it give you a combo on charged hit, not only does it chip on health on block, it comes out in 16 frames. That's nothing to scoff at. White Wild Assault is by far one of the nastiest tools because you're able to play into neutral disgustingly. The thing about White Wild Assault is that it's disgusting in terms of its practical uses in neutral defense and offense if placed well. Wild Assault in general does need a touch, but White Wild Assault is definitely the main contender for being kinda broken and leading to a lot of characters winning through means that aren't based around their character. But the potential nerfs, let's go through them. One potential nerf that I would like to see on every Wild Assault is probably no more hard knockdown or burst deleting. Burst deleting is insane, not gonna lie. There's a lot of situations that you can set up that are burst safe combos that can lead to death. And the other thing is getting a hard knockdown after a wall. I could get it, 50% for it, but it's a lot. It's a lot of a reward because a lot of characters just get a steamroll from there, especially with positive bonus. This game is based around offense and steamrolling, but it feels like it's too much at times. That might need to go. Again, these are all potential changes, but that should go for all the Wild Assaults. Let's talk about White Wild Assault specifically, and these are 3 potential nerfs that I would like to see. But the first one is, make it an armor move. If Wild Assault became an armor move, then you can have some fun interactions that are unique to the tool. That way, there's still some risk playing into neutral, but it's a really good push forward advancing neutral tool with all these rewards, because that's the whole purpose of White Wild Assault. It's a neutral tool that you can commit to that's fun, that doesn't rely on tension. Another potential one is that it can keep its iframes, but it's gotta lose some of the rewards, specifically on hit or in charged hit. It's kinda insane that when you get in, it's like plus on block to set up an automatic 50-50, but the fact that it's also a guard crush means the opponent can't do anti-fuzzy. It also gives you a lot on hit, especially the charged version, and it does a lot, Like, I can see you giving a hard knockdown still for the charged version, maybe a better hard knockdown specifically, but it's a bit much. It may need to lose some of its rewards, but I like the implication of an iframe approaching too. To start offense, but I hate the idea of gaining so much out of it. Next mechanic we're going to talk about that isn't Wild Assault is Deflect. Deflect is fairly underrated in general. It's a decent defensive tool that can push the opponent back, but I do think it could be made stronger just due to the fact that it's not strong in some situations. The opponent can get back in if they trade resources, which fair enough, but I think it could use a bit more strengths added on. So here's a couple of buff concepts I'd find really interesting. The first buff concept is that on a successful deflect, it would delete some of the opponent's tension meter. I think that would be a very fun change because you're pushing the opponent back, and in a situation where they rush in with 50 meter, you push them back, and then all of a sudden that 50 meter becomes 40, they can't do an RC to overextend their pressure. I think that would be a really fun change and create interactions where people are thinking about the opponent's meter on defense whilst thinking about how to delete some of that while fighting back. It also plays into how Wild Assault deletes the opponent's burst, so why not have Deflect delete the opponent's meter? One buff that I think I could get is that I could deflect the opponent further than RA does. It deflects the opponent at quite a far distance, but when I think of a deflect, I immediately think of tools that really push the opponent back. And I think that's what Deflect should do. I think if it deflects something like Potemkin Wishlist, he should go 3/4 of the screen. He should disappear. Because you're using half of your burst for a pushback read that blocks high-low that'll leave you in a counter hit state if you're wrong, And it would give characters that have weaker defensive options like Zato, HC, and Testament something that they can go for instead of just either Super PRC, YRC. Because right now I think it's kind of too weak and could use a slight touch up, because if we want to make comparisons, Wild Assault is ridiculous, Deflect is not so much. These are just fun thoughts, my ideas, and I want to hear some of your ideas in the comments below. Be sure to tell me what you think should happen to these mechanics, either a nerf or a buff, or maybe you should say Goldler is broken. Go for it, have fun. Up next we're going to be talking about characters, buffs and nerfs, and this is what I just think what every character needs across the board as like either small ideas or something a bit more in depth. But first off, we're going to talk about Slayer. Slayer is still fairly new, but his damage is ridiculous. Of course, his damage is high as it is because of tradition, right? It should probably stay that way because that's what a lot of people associate Slayer with, deleting your health for making a wrong play. However, where my problem lies is kinda the options that you can delete your health with. For example, counter hit Mappa Hunch is ridiculous. The counter hit 5p into Mappa Hunch is also ridiculous. There's 30% tension starters that you can do to get 60% on the opponent for pressing against a 5p. I don't know about you, that is insane. So I think the routings need to be changed, but besides that, he has a lot of fun tools and fun damage, but yeah, am I right, fellas? That damage though.
Smack the hell out of you.
It's so funny because immediate DP usually beats wake up supers, and it's hilarious that Cohen actually was aware of the situation and got to punish them. Oh, what? I'm sorry. I glanced over at the chat. I could have sworn Sim was just at 100% HP.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Moving on to the next character, Abba. Abba was a character that came out before Slayer, and I love her to death. But the thing is, that Stomp. It's a mid approaching move, comes out in 17 frames, fairly quick, and only -1 on block. It's not an overhead, right? Not an overhead, which is by far the least scariest thing about it, but the fact that it's -1 on block allows her RPS with 2p against characters that only have 5 frame mashes. Meaning, unless she's fighting another 4 frame mash character, she can kind of trade on offense with this tool on block. That's insane. I think it just needs to be made like -2 instead of -1, and then you kind of fix all the problems. Like, it can do everything it does, it just can't be -1. It has to be like -2, -3. Her jealousy stays insane, but that's kind of the whole point of the character, so I wouldn't know what would need nerfing in that regard. I just know it's gross when she gets started. But yeah, this one we're going to talk about in depth, and that is Zato. He did not benefit that much from Season 3 changes. Wild Assault, if anything, hurt him because I had to go against some of the big bodies that can skip Eddie. And burst hitting full screen also hurt him because that allows you to delete Eddie in any situation no matter what. Meaning you can't protect Eddie in bait burst or bait YRC anymore. And the other thing is, Eddie dying is no longer coming back in your short amount of time. We're talking 6 to 10 seconds. All of a sudden, your boy Zato can't really start offense without Eddie, and if he baits burst, what's he gonna get? 20% combo? Like, I don't think that's fair. So Zato either needs ways to bait burst creatively. For example, let Eddie's wall still keep Eddie up if he baits burst. I think that would be fair. Right now, he cannot bait burst and save Eddie if Eddie's out unless he has 50 bar to convert into super to keep Eddie in. I think another fun thing that we could get is give something that Zato can get with damage that doesn't require Eddie. He needs something to help in that regard. And again, as someone that's not really educated on Zato, all I can really say is his normals are pretty solid, but like overall he needs help when it comes to anything involving Eddie. That is the main thing. Eddie is strong, give him more routes to it. Maybe give him a tool that can build back Eddie meter if he does a certain thing. Up next is Faust. He needs some love. In my mind, he's one of the near bottom characters of the game. And NA disagrees with this, and I think they're dumb. One change you can instantly use is a close slash that's +1. If you guys aren't educated, Faust's close slash is -1. Compare that to the rest of the roster, he's like the only one that's like this, and that's so random. The other thing is, when he whiffs a button, he's like -50. It doesn't need to be like that. Recovery's like -30, but still, it's insane. He shouldn't be recovering for that long for whipping a normal that is smaller than pot. That's something that needs to change. His whip recovery could use some help. The thing is, his items are fine. His items don't need touching. They're really good, and in the right hands you can make them explode. Bedman is a weird one. I think he needs some buffs, but I don't know what he needs. Because right now, he can get in, he can play neutral. It's just that he lacks any form of scary mix. He genuinely doesn't. Unless he's doing JH, like what's he gonna do? What, 6H? He needs help in that regards. Maybe make 6H come out a lot faster, or maybe make it so that he can have more routes into his jump H. I think that would genuinely help the character. Nago is a topic. If you've seen many tournaments and the opponent's on low health, you'll see one thing that plagues everybody that has to fight Nagoriyuki, and that is that goddamn samurai mix. Samurai mix is insane. All it is Beyblading and high-low strike throw. That's it. It's not fun. Daisuke boys were smoking some good Zaza when adding that in, that is for sure. But one thing we've got to talk about is Happy Chaos. HC is a fun one worth talking about. He's a character who's been nerfed essentially since season 2.5. And he did deserve those nerfs. He was the best character in the game. And one thing stands out so goddamn hard. And that is that damn clone. So goddamn strong because it can act like a parry. It can keep peeps in the corner. It's great for web punishing and setting up your own resources. And you can use it to bait people going for a resource trade, poking into it and using red RC. It's genuinely so good. It's so multifaceted. It makes you wonder, why am I pressing anything on wake up? It's that strong on offense. It's genuinely that strong where you can set up a nasty 50-50 or sit there and get resources, and if the opponent presses, you can react in time with a nasty 6S or 2K. It's that good. But the thing is, it's kind of hard to offer a nerf to this because he loses health every time he pops this, but it's insanely good. I think maybe as a fair nerf, make it so the clone doesn't last as long as it does, because I think it lasts like 4 seconds on the screen. Maybe make it last 2 instead, so Happy Chaos can still do his resources and all that type of stuff, but he can't really sit there and get everything back while he has you in the corner and waiting for something. And of course there's other characters that do need some touching, but I'm not that educated in mentioning what they deserve. This is the fun part, we're going to talk about the character predictions, and if you've been liking this so far, be sure to like and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated as we continue on. But here we go, character predictions. So what I'm doing here is I'm predicting a Season 4 that would be fun and diverse for the gameplay of people playing the game. I want to cover every demographic. And to start us off, I'm going to start us off a weird character. Yeah, nobody's expecting this, and that's Zappa. Personally, I'm not a fan of Zappa, but in this game, I think he could be cool and can definitely rock it. For example, I wasn't a fan of ABBA, but I love ABBA in Season 3 of Strive. I think in the gameplay, he could be a fun puppet alternate to Zao, kind of like a set play character where he has his own minions, but for him, he would have stance gimmicks, where I'm thinking that his 2 iconic stances would be the one that would be carried over. Due to Guilty Gear Strive's simplicity, he wouldn't have all of them, but I think the blade and the dog would be the best to carry over, as most people recognise that and it's very iconic. The thing that you can get if you boost his meter or as an install, he could gain access to that lobster stand he has. I don't know the name of it, but it looks like a lobster to me. I think that would be the main tools that they would carry on, and he'd be a set play rushdown. I think it'd be interesting, a lot of set play gameplay, and you know, you would appeal to that niche part of the community that like these weirder characters, specifically how he has a spooky. Up next, I think this would be a good one to cover in general because shows are kind of everywhere and it's kind of hard to add a new show into the game without being boring, and I'm thinking they could do this with the new character that they're showing off in the anime or with a guest character. The guest character could be Terry Bogard. Nah, I'm just messing. Nah, but the guest character could be an SNK or Tekken pick, something of that nature, or maybe even Street Fighter considering previous collabs. I would like to see Terry in the art style of Guilty Gear because I just have a bias like that. And from Tekken, it'd be kind of awesome to see Kazuya in the game. Maybe play it as some type of weird movement-based show, but I do think, for my personal bias, King would be awesome, but that's not gonna happen. And from SNK, Geese Howard would rock this game, but that's not gonna happen. These are just fun predictions for me. One recommendation I definitely have is from that anime. That anime is gonna have that character, and they have a gun, they have a sword, so they could possibly be another Sol variant. Could play like Order Sol. It would be the perfect tie-in for that playstyle. Up next, we're gonna play into the big bodies, and that being Justice. And even though I'm not a fan of zoners and the way this one plays, it would definitely be hyped to get them in, that's for sure. Yeah, we don't really have a zoner big body. They would be a big body true base zoner where they can tank hits, stay at afar, but their zoning wouldn't be as potent or as quick as someone like Axel. It'd be more set play based and controlling. I like how they play with plus R, but they would shoot a slow projectile or shoot a fast fireball. The other idea that you could give them is some type of reflector, kind of like how Potemkin has a reflect, and I think if you give them some type of long-reaching overhead special, that would probably complete the character's kit. I think that would be an awesome addition to the game, even though it's not for me. I'm not the zoner, I'm not into this type, but she would be awesome. The last one we're going to talk about will focus on purely rush down, basing it all on offense, and I think that would be Jam. Jam would be a great rush down where there's no set play and it's all about getting straight to business. She could have a powered up stance so it'd increase her next special, kind of like how she had before, but due to Guilty Gear Strive simplicity, she wouldn't have all of them being able to buff up or stack where you can have all three. It'd probably be one where you can buff your next one just by powering up. But yeah, I think it'd be awesome if they gave her like kind of like Slayer stuff where she's really good at approaching, getting in, starting pressure, but she'd be less about monstrous damage. I think this lineup would be perfect for covering every demographic and give you fun twists and surprises. You'd get absolutely everything on the one season, and it'd feel like it's fresh with all these different and vibrant characters to look at. But here's the thing, and that is people saying, what about Dizzy instead of Justice? And I'm like, well, that'd be another small body zoner, which we kind of have plenty of. I think this would work because it'd be a pick that nobody would expect, like Season 3 Abba or Season 2 Bridget. Nobody expected these characters to come back, but constantly begged for it, and I think Justice would play into that. One of those characters that no one would expect, and you would see them, they would look great in a new coat of paint. But yeah, what I will say is sorry Cliff fams, maybe another season. Up next is for all the Potemkin nerds out there, the dorks themselves, and that's talking about what he needs for the season to be better. And overall, I think he's solid in the current meta, as in he can do pretty well, he can stand out, a boy has proven that multiple times, but he needs some help. He does need some help, because every time you fight in a bad matchup, you want to kill your But yeah, to get started off, these are fun buff concepts. Not all of them need to happen, but a couple of them could happen, and I would be happy because they'd be fun and something to mess around with. First one, Heat Tackle being like a DP. Basically, it's already got the factors of a DP. It's made for anti-airing, it reaches pretty high up into the sky, it's minus 20 on block, on whip it's essentially death. But the thing is that it does all these things, but with the armor coming out frame 9. Now, I think frame 9 is pretty brutal for the armor to come out. I think like if it came out like frame 4, 3, that'd be kind of cool. It's not like I'm using it like Hammerfall. Hammerfall, I'm using that as a slow armor committal call out, where if I'm wrong, I'm minus 6. Where if the armor on this, frame 3 armor, then I'm using it as a hard call out, and if I'm wrong, damn. That's how that should work. Be quicker on the armor. That way we have another defensive tool that relies on armor instead of having invulnerable super, because that's not him. The other one would be giving him a faint Garuda. People have been asking this since Season 2. Basically, if you don't know, Garuda's a core part of his moveset. It's how you deny fuzzies. If the opponent had a DP or a bar, there's not really a whole lot that you could do against super. The super should be reactive, call out Garuda, and even if spaced out, you can clash cancel and make yourself safe. So overall, against Garuda, your key anti-fuzzy tool, it's telegraphed and is easy to get out of with meter or DP. That's why a feint Garuda would be awesome, because all of a sudden you can't do these options. You can't clash cancel anymore because you're wrong, and the DP will whiff because there's no hitbox. It will go flying up, come back down, you're minus 20 Potemkin Buster. That'd be such a fun change. These are things that I think would be awesome for fun changes, but here's things that just need to happen, and that's Heavenly needs to be buffed. That screen needs to lock in place and my opponent shouldn't be able to move. No, but in all seriousness though, the hitbox needs to be better. Genuinely, you whiff on this a lot of the times, and it's such a key part of Potemkin's toolkit that it needs to be better in terms of the hitbox, and I shouldn't be air thrown out of it. Genuinely, if I'm going up against an air move, until I'm done, I shouldn't be hit by an air move. Simple as. That's the whole point of the move. It's supposed to call out jump out as a 50-50 option. It's not supposed to lose to an air move or air throw. That's just not right. That's not its reason for existing. Another fun one could be Hammerfall Break being minus 6 instead of minus 14 on recovery. Minus 14 in recovery doesn't give you room to do anything. It just kind of gives you a cancel. Like, I don't know, man. I think I should be able to do something safe. Maybe create some fun cancels that allow me to block in time. That way the opponent has to guess against my long committal neutral buttons. If they block at 5H, should I do hammer, fall, break in their face and block something like a DP or a mash out, and it's like a minus mash out, I could challenge back and fight back. 2D if we break at the right distance. Giving something fun off a hammerfall. That's the whole point. That's why I think hammerfall break should be minus 6, not minus 3. Like plus R cycles 1. No. That's not the whole point of the move anymore. It's not the whole point of the move. These are just fun changes. Nothing is necessary. If Potemkin wants to keep up, he's gonna need something insane, either from the previous buffs I mentioned or just something ridiculous. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. If you liked it, be sure to like it. And you know, if you want to keep supporting me and be involved in this community, the Panda family, be sure to subscribe, check out my other links and all that good stuff. But I'm a peace out. And for my final words, I'm gonna say this. Give Potemkin a frame 1 pop buster, it does 90%. Bye!